Hi you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back to another Project Life Process video. In this video, I'll be working with 2016 on week 41, and I'm working with the October Studio Calico kit. And if you saw the video that I posted a couple days ago, I walked through the unboxing of this kit, so you can kind of get more of an idea of the embellishments that they had and all the supplies that were included in that kit if you go and watch that video, and I will link that in the description below. So I was just trying to go through the cards. I really liked the cards this month. I liked the colors and deciding which ones I wanted to use on my layout. And then I'm going through the title cards as well. And honestly, there wasn't one that was really jumping out at me. And so I grabbed this card that came with my Get to Work book for 2017. I have 2016. It's working really well. I love it. Totally recommend it. So I found this card and I decided that I wanted to use it for the title page. I thought it would be really great, but it turns out that I did not punch it very well. It was really thick cardstock and it did not go through the punch very well. So I totally scrapped it and decided it wasn't something that I was going to be able to use for this layout. So I'm putting the title page on hold, and that's definitely something that I will come back to. I actually think that I don't get to it till the very end of the layout. And so I'm just trying to go through the cards and figure out where I want the placement. You know, oftentimes I do that based on how it feels and how it looks, but ultimately I decided I originally liked the way that I put down the cards. So I'm taking a stamp from this kit, from the October Studio Calico kit, and I'm stamping it right on to the card. That's with the Hero Arts Unicorn ink, and it's a pigment ink. And I saw a design just like this. It was either on Instagram or on Studio Calico's website. I can't remember the artist, and I apologize for that. But I really liked the way it looked, that they added the stamp to it and that arrow. So I decided to do the exact same thing. So I'm trying to decide if I want to use that badge that says keep it real. And I really liked it next to the photo of my daughter with her friends that she added to Snapchat. I thought it was a really great sentiment to go along with it. So I decided to keep it after all. And I really love that card with the gold lines. It's very geometric. And of course, that's what makes me love it so much. So I decided to just keep that simple. So the next thing that I'm going to be reaching for is that card that says Miles and Miles. Now, if you saw my video on week 40, you'll see that I've already did the stamping and the journaling for that one. I just wanted to add a box right on the stamp. So the next card that I'm going to be working on, it says quality over quantity. And I love this card. It's really great. I wanted to use it for some journaling that I did on Instagram, but I realized that the journaling was just too much to write. So I decided to take that over to Photoshop. So I'm going to head over to Photoshop and I will show you how I got the type right onto that card. Hey you guys, I'm in Photoshop, and you could do this in Photoshop Elements, or you could also do it in Word, but I have Photoshop, so that's what I'm going to be using today. The first thing I want to do is to open up a new document. I'm not going to worry about the name right now, but the width I want to be a 3 and the height I want to be a 4. I want to make this a 3x4 card. If your background is transparent, you could leave it that way if you want. When I'm working with type like this, I like to put it on white. So you can just adjust this to a 3x4 and then click OK, and then it's going to bring up my document. The first thing that I want to do is I want to put some markers in place so that I know where the words are on the card. So I'm going to come up to the ruler and I'm just going to click and pull down, and that's going to give me a marker. And the word comes down to about 1/4 of an inch, so about right here. And because I don't want my type to go all the way to the top, I think I'll bring it down. Maybe we'll even go as far as a 1/4, or let's see. What is this? A 1/2 of an inch. And I'll leave it there for now. Then I'm going to pull down another one. I'm going to bring this to 3 inches because this is where the line is. And you'll be more familiar with it when you when you see it again in my spread. And then I'm going to pull down another one because the word comes down to about 3 1/4. And so maybe I'll pull it down a couple more, 2/8 of an inch, and put it there. So you can see there's not a lot of room to type here. And in fact, I might end up putting in like a stamp or something here. I could even print something out. So I'll have to decide that depending on how much room this text takes. So now I'm going to come over to my type tool. You could hit T as well, and it's going to bring up that type tool. And now I'm just going to drag a marquee so I have a place that I can type my journaling. And I'm going to hit Control V, or I could right click and hit paste. It's also Command V on the Mac. And I'm just going to hit paste. Now it doesn't look like it's come in, but I'm realizing right here that I've got, it's in white. So I'm just going to Control A or Command A, and it's going to it's going to highlight all of it. And it's looking like it's fitting pretty well. And I'm going to come to color, and I'm going to come down to black. Just move all the way down to black, or you could do like zeros all the way across. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then I want to highlight my name, and then this is all that I want to do for the journaling. And that's actually looking pretty good. If I wanted, I could adjust the tracking and the kerning right here. If I wanted, let's see, if I wanted the words to go all the way down to the bottom. And I don't know that I do, because that's the line right there, and I don't want it to go all the way down to the line. But if you wanted it to go all the way down, you could. I think I want there to be a little bit more space up there at the top, and I'm just going to adjust that to make that right there is telling me that it's dead center. I know sometimes it gets confusing right over here whether or not something is center, and you can adjust that by eye. I'm going to leave it for now. Maybe I'll adjust it just slightly. It's so hard to tell. I'm just going to go back to the center. Okay, so the next thing I want to do before I print is I want to add a box around this, just so when I print it, it'll print the box, and then I can run it through again with my card, and it will print my card. So I'm going to come up here to background. You can see that it's locked, and I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to give me a layer 0. I could name this if I wanted to, like background, and then I'll click OK. And this is my background, and it's unlocked, so I can change it. Now I'm going to come down here to this function button, and I want to add a stroke to this. And I usually just do center, and 4 is fine. I want to just highlight it to make sure that I actually do have something. Sometimes weird things happen. So let's just do a 3, and 3 is fine. And then I'm going to click OK. And now when I print it, it's going to print, it's actually going to print this box with it, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to hit Control P, and I'm going to bring over this printer box, and it's set up for the wrong printer. So I'm going to come down to Brother, because that's my laser printer. And I'm going to do what you've probably seen me do before. It is in the center, and that's exactly where I want it to print, is in the center. Let me click on the print settings just to make sure. I'm going to pull this up. We got portrait. I want this. Now, I'm going to leave this for now just because this is just a test run, but I will change this once I do it for real. I'm going to do plain paper, and I'll do thicker paper, and then I'll change this to 1200, and I'll change this to text. And I'll do that. Like I said, this is just a practice, because then I'm going to stick my card onto it. But I change those so that the laser paper actually like burns into it and doesn't like flake off. So if your laser is rubbing off, then you need to change these settings. You need to especially adjust the paper thickness, and that will definitely help. So I think we are good. I'm going to hit, and the other thing that you could do as well, and I don't always do this when I'm going to hit OK here, but when I've made a border around it, I don't always do it, but you could do the corner marks, and I'll just do that so you can see it. And then I'm just going to print it off. Okay, so this is what I printed off right here, and it didn't get the bottom box, but that's totally fine. It's not a big deal. But what it's allowing me to do, I like the crop marks. The crop marks are fine, but what I really love is the box, because you can see that I am able to put it right inside the box, and then I know it's going to print exactly where I want it to. And the other thing I just wanted to let you know that I put this up against a window like this so I could see through it. And I noticed that this seemed a little too tight. So what I ended up doing, it seemed too close to here compared to this. So what I ended up doing is going in Photoshop and just moving this text down just a little bit. And the other thing that you want to remember when doing this sort of thing with the box is to hide the background while you're doing it. So hide this background when you go to print it again, and then make sure to make those adjustments that I suggested where it's the 1200, and you know, make it on thicker paper. And I'm just going to stick this on. Needed to get my adhesive. I'm going to stick this on right there. And then I'm gonna go run it through my machine one more time. Okay, guys, so this is the card. You can see that it warps a little bit because it goes through heat. And I'm just gonna carefully take it off the back, and I'll move that. You can see that it prints out exactly, and I'm just gonna bend it a little bit. It prints out exactly where you want it to print. Doesn't that look great? I absolutely love it that that's an option. So I think what I'm gonna do right here is actually do a stamp. Anyways, so I'm just going to continue with the layout. All right, so I'm just moving right along with this spread. So I'm trying to find a card that I want to go in the upper right corner. That's a photo of my brother who passed away 20 plus years ago. And I did some journaling because it was his birthday this past week. And so I wanted to add a little something. I'm trying to come up with a card that would work. I also had journaling that I did on Instagram. And so because I didn't want to handwrite it, I did the exact same thing that I did from the card before. I did it in Photoshop, and then I printed it out the exact same way that you saw me do. So I found this great embellishment that I wanted to use. These are word phrases, and they're not stickers. They're ones that they're kind of perforated. I really liked the blue on the gold. I thought it was really great. So I'm trying to do a little bit of an embellishment onto this card itself, and I wasn't really loving it. It actually did not look the way that I had pictured in my mind. I don't know if that ever happens to you guys, but I thought it would look differently, and for some reason it just looked like a planet. So I fiddle with it for the next little while, trying to figure out how to make the embellishment work for me, because I actually really did like the sentiment. So you'll see that as I'm looking through my embellishments, I keep going back to that card and keep trying to figure out how I can make that card better. Maybe looking at it right now, maybe I should have had it go from the white card into the picture or something like that. But you'll see how I deal with it. And I actually do end up using that word phrase. So I'm going back to the quality over quantity card, and I'm looking for a stamp that I want to put on the bottom. This is a one little word stamp set from, I think, 2015, and then also some Ali Edwards, some of her story stamps. This is from Believe, and I believe this said something about "this I know is true," or something along those lines. So I just went ahead and stamped that, and I liked the difference between the printed text to the stamped portion of it. I thought that was a really great combination. So again, I am just messing with this card. I really want to get it right. And so I'm trying to decide how to incorporate that sentiment and how it can best be used. So what I end up doing is cutting it right down the middle and then kind of splitting it in between the circle. And I actually do like the way this ended up. Looking at it now, I wish I had maybe added a little bit like some other type of embellishment right on top, maybe a star or maybe a heart or something like that. But for now, that works just fine. It satisfied me, so I am definitely happy with that. And I liked all the circles that I ended up getting in this layout with the badges and with the stamps and things like that. So I'm pulling out my Kelly Perky stamps that you have seen me do before. These are small stamps. I'm trying to think of how tall they are. They're maybe like a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/3 of an inch. They're definitely not a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch. I really love using them. I like that they're just a smaller version of something bigger. So I'm writing Michigan right on this card. This is going to go with the miles and miles journaling that I did. My husband was in Michigan for this portion of his week, and he was up in the Upper Peninsula, and so he was sending photos every day to us, which was great because it was a lot of fun to see how beautiful it is up there as it's turning into fall. This is definitely a gorgeous time of year. I think probably everywhere in the world, maybe, I was going to say maybe even in the southern hemisphere because it's turning into spring, right? So yeah, I really do enjoy the changing of the seasons. So on this journaling card, this was a sticker that came from my Get to Work book. I think it was like on the packaging. And so I pulled it out and stuck it on the card and decided to talk about how I've really loved the Get to Work book this year and how it's really helped me with my time management. So I finally had decided on what I was going to do for my title. I wanted a little bit more pink because you can see there's some blues and yellows, but I wanted a little bit more pink in this layout. So I decided to take the October card, just the title card that usually comes with the kit, and cut a portion of it off and then put the date right on there. And I go and I find a little gold star. I do not remember. I'm sure this came from a Studio Calico kit, but I don't remember which one. It might have just been September. So I decided to grab that since there's so much gold on this layout already. And then I want to use a little bit more word phrases. And I think I end up cutting out, this is the story of today, but ultimately I end up changing that to, so this happened or something like that. So, you know how sometimes at first glance you see something and you're like, oh, that would work with this. And then as I was looking at the sheet, I saw something that I thought would work a little bit better. And so I just ended up switching it out, and I can use the story of this day another time. I also end up adding one of that photo to my 2 daughters eating breakfast. And I don't think I show that in this video. It says something like, be yourself and you can be anything or something like that. And I really love that sentiment, especially as they were like mid-bite and looking kind of funny, silly, I guess I should say. So I'm just looking through more of my embellishments and seeing if there's anything else I want to add to this layout. But ultimately, I decide I really like the way that it's looking. I like the colors and just how everything is working together. So this is the spread for this week. I really hope you guys were able to find some inspiration from it. If you liked what you saw, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. All right, you guys, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.